My construction worker get up on, because legally to be inside this construction site I need to be suited up. Normally I just have my studio paint clothes. So I'm a full-time muralist, a full-time artist. I work for the city of Philadelphia on staff for the Mural Arts program. And this project is not actually a Mural Arts program project. It's a independent project I'm doing on the side because I'm friends with the designer. About 3 years ago, we did a project on the South Street Bridge. You can see it from the highway. It looks very similar to this, except with a white background and a black background and stripes instead in one section instead of the geometric diamond pattern. Normally, I'm a portrait painter. Normally, I do very representational work. This is actually a different style, but it requires the same level of precision. So they got an artist to do it. So how I break down a project like this is I have a little map. This is literally the map of the section we're working on right here. And I'm using construction worker tools in order to paint this. But really, I'm painting it like it was a piece of art. So my biggest paintbrush is this one right here. It's only 3 inches across. If I want to go bigger than that, I will use rollers to get bigger marks. Or a big 9-inch roller is about as big as I like to go. They make bigger rollers, but if I'm going bigger than this, I'm going to be using a modified house painting sprayer. And you've seen street art with spray paint cans, and they can get airbrush-like control with the different nozzles. While we hacked a house sprayer, so it gets the same kind of airbrush control, but the mark gets up to 3 or 4 feet wide if we want it to. For this project, it's over 100 feet wide. It's over 30 feet tall. My smallest brush is this little guy, and I use this one to get the crisp corners where the shapes intersect. Like construction work, instead of a ruler, we use a tape measure, and for my straight lines, I use a chalk line. And a chalk line is just a string with blue chalk powder in it, and we'll put it up on the wall between 2 coordinates, twang it, pluck it, just like a guitar string, and it leaves a perfectly straight long line instantly. And then when we want to get rid of it, instead of erasing with an eraser, we just use a wet rag and wipe it right off, and it completely comes off. To get verticals and horizontals, a bubble level is really an artist's best friend. So for this project, we're direct painting, which means we drew the artwork on the wall with those coordinates and then connect the dots, and then we paint it. With some of the other projects, we have little artistic cheats that we do. One of them is using an overhead projector, and we literally project the design. So I'll make it on a computer. You guys are doing graphic design. What computer program are you using right now? Say again? Adobe Illustrator. Guess what? Adobe Illustrator. So this artist will paint in her studio on canvas, the designer. Normally on my projects, I'm the designer, but because this is my friend, I'm hooking her up and I'm doing it for her. She designed it. Adobe Illustrator is fantastic. You get your shapes. 1 inch on my computer screen equals 1 foot out here. So when you set up your computer document and you make it 8.5 by 11, I made mine 103 inches by, it was 27 inches equals the feet of the real, and then 1/2 an inch on my computer is 6 inches in real life, 1/2 foot. So that's my way of transcribing it. Anytime we do a project like this, you don't want to waste paint or money out on the site. So I do all of my experimenting on the computer or in my sketchbook. So I don't want to have half of it painted and then have to be like, oh shoot, I should have put that over there, it would have looked better. Nah, I figured that all out in advance on my little sketch. That's why the preliminary sketch is just as much work as being out here, and the preliminary sketch is even more important than being out here. Once you have your preliminary sketch, the funders have to sign off on it, all of that. You got to get approval, and then you can put it up. And as long as you did it right, it protects you, because they can't say, oh, we wanted different colors there, or oh, we wanted a portrait of my dog up there. Nah, they signed off on my design, so they get what they get. For a project like this, direct painting, sometimes we project, I already mentioned. Sometimes, I was on this project about 15 years ago, and this was actually done on wallpaper. Instead of bringing the students, because we work with students who go to the school, instead of bringing them up on the scaffold, which is technically illegal until you're 18, instead of bringing the students to the wall, we bring the wall to the students on the panels of wallpaper. And the wallpaper is not actually paper, it's kind of like paper, like money is paper. Like a dollar bill can go through the laundry and it doesn't turn to pulp or fade or whatever. We actually paint on it, and then when we glue it up on the wall, the glue shrink wraps it into the texture of the brick. It makes it look like we did it right here. And that keeps me working right through the winter, because we can't paint, the paint won't cure properly when it's too cold. So only in Philly is this widespread, this technique. If you want to have an art job, you're basically Philly, New York, or Los Angeles. With remote work now, you can work all over. So for your generation of artists, you might get lucky and be wherever you want. But if you want to be on staff.
How does that work? Remote mural work, you're saying?
You can do remote mural work. And how you do it is that mural cloth.
Oh, right.
You can paint it in your studio on the beach in Florida, and then you can come up here and glue it up over a weekend. They are putting insulation in there, so that's foam that's raining down on us right now.
I didn't feel it.
So do you guys have any other questions?
I have a bunch, but come on, you can go first.
Yeah. Say again? So the planning started last year around Halloween. The actual project, this has been 3 weeks on this wall, and Saturday will be 4 weeks. And so it's a lot of money for the labor, but also for renting the lift and using top quality paint. So nobody wants to do this project, put all a month's worth of work into painting, and then have it look bad next year. So a project like this will start, the cheapest you could do this is like $10,000 to $15,000. The most expensive, it goes up to 50 or 60 grand. And if you get like a celebrity artist, like Obey, Shepard Fairey.
We saw on your Instagram that.
Oh yeah, I work with him. Yo man, he charges through the roof, and you're hiring his name, not him. You know,
because he has people working for him.
Yeah.
Which job did you work with him in?
So he actually got in trouble doing illegal murals, and because he's so famous, it was really easy for the authorities to get caught up with him. So he had to do community service, and so he chose Philadelphia and did a project, and I got to be his lead assistant because I'm the local artist. So we worked on the Rocket Cat Cafe, which I don't even know if it's still there, in Fishtown. And
what street is that?
I don't even remember, honestly. And then he liked it and came back and worked with us 2 more times in Philly, and all in the Fishtown area. And the problem is all this new construction, they ended up covering it up. So that's what happens. It's not about, like, we paint this with the goal of it lasting about 20, 25 years, but who knows what's gonna happen, so you gotta get a good picture, because that picture in your portfolio is the art. And what happens in the world happens in the world. I've had drunk drivers crash through my murals. I've had people, vandals, you know, they have a grudge against the principal and they take it out on my artwork. You never know what's gonna happen, so you get that photo and that's what counts. So I was on the Love Letters project and the anti-graffiti guys thought that we were graffiti and they buffed out one of our murals. And we had just enough money in the budget to go back and repaint it, but it was such a pain in the butt to paint over what we had just done, and then some maintenance guy just buffed it out, you know. But yeah, so is there any other questions? That Instagram is so old.
I know,
like,
2015.
2015, well, 7 years now since I posted.
We're gonna update. I'll have one of the students help you.
So I've been working doing murals nonstop since 2007. Before that, I was a stained glass artist, and I was admiring, you guys got some nice pieces in your school.
We do.
So I went to school for illustration, and I did graphic design as a minor. So I was, I do mostly Photoshop now, but at the time I was doing Illustrator. But it's the same suite. You probably already have it on your laptop or computer. So, any other questions?
And by the way, this is your wife,
yes.
correct?
And this is my wife, Jess, is my assistant. You can't do a project like this with one person. It's just too big. And so it's really fun when you're friends with your assistants. It's even more fun when you're married to your assistant.
That's right.
So yeah, she's helping me on this project, but she's going to school for nursing, so she won't be available to help much more.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
But it's interesting because I think for you guys, like you're all different majors. Not everyone's an art major and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the skills to really do projects like this. I mean, it incorporates a lot of stuff, construction stuff.
Oh yeah.
Math. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of math.
Yeah, a lot of basic math. Not advanced algebra or geometry, basic, but a lot of math.
Yeah.
And also, when we put in the paint orders, you don't want to waste money because that cuts out of your profit. So you got to do a lot of math with that too.
Yeah, gallons.
Oh man, I've lost track.
The biggest project you did.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
That's a very good question. So the tallest one, you know, the Rise and Shine mural on the building, I was on that team. I wasn't the lead, I didn't design that, but that was definitely the tallest, and it was like 120 feet up top, I believe.
Where is that one?
Coming down Broad Street, North Broad, on one side of the building it says Rise, with the Philadelphia skyline in the background. On the other side, yeah, that's it.
Right by the Broad Street station.
Yes,
and stuff. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So James Burns was the lead artist. He designed that. I was just one of the. I helped with it. My own favorite mural that I've done is actually up in Northeast Philly, which I never go to, except I got an assignment up there, and it was a Joyce Craig mural on the side of the Lawncrest Library. Joyce Craig is, she was the first woman to die in the line of duty for the Philadelphia Fire Department. And basically her equipment failed, her respirator, and she was trapped in there, not able to breathe. Real big tragedy. And we did a memorial to her on the side of the library. And it was, artistically, they let me do a lot of cool stuff, like glass mosaic and a little 3D section. And it was really meaningful, and that was definitely my favorite.
The name of the artist that designed this?
Rebecca Rutstein is the name of the artist who designed this. She's a fine artist. She shows in galleries, and she also does public art. Philadelphia Mural Arts is community art, and what that means is that for the vast majority of our projects, the people who live in the neighborhood get to say what the art subject matter is. So then the artist comes in and makes their story into the art. So I make it look good, but they tell me what subject matter they want. And so it's art for the people versus art for the artist to show to the people. It's a big difference, even though it's semantics, you know.
Well, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask you about
Yeah. What's awesome is that I, being a staff artist, what's the most expensive budget? I, being a staff artist, I don't ever see the numbers. So it's probably I mean, her other project was an official mural arts project. Oh, I know a good one. There was a project on Amtrak we did like 5 or 6, 7 years ago, where we spray painted the wasteland on either side of the railroad tracks with giant abstract color swooshes. The whole goal of it is that you would ride the train and then look out the window and be like Alice in Wonderland, like everything went psychedelic outside, and the conversation you would have with the stranger sitting next to you, like, what the hell is going on out there? Sorry, what the heck is going on out there? That was the art, right? And so there was this forest that was going to be clear cut because it was invasive trees, and we spray painted it all pink. And there's the side of a building that has these giant orange swoosh tie-dyes on it. And yeah, that was really expensive because we had to work in the middle of the night when the trains weren't running, and we had to have babysitters from Amtrak. And that was like, I don't even remember the numbers, but I'm guessing it was around $85,000 for that one. But yeah,
you guys
grants pay for it.
That's between 30th Street and the zoo, basically.
Yes,
right? I saw that. So
yeah.
You guys use the bug sprayer thing,
yes.
Right?
So the name of that is Psyche Lustro, and there's 2 YouTube videos. No, the name of the project, Psyche Lustro. There's 2 YouTube documentaries. Please look that up, Psyche Lustro, and look for. I'm the white helmet, and there's some like time lapse we did. And if you freeze frame, you can see me like flexing in front of the camera, like a little sneak. And they left it in there. I couldn't believe it. So.
I remember seeing when graffiti artists first started taking that up. And that's interesting that mural artists just takes it on like that. But
yeah.
One last thing, your Instagram. Can you just say?
Yes. Art by Nathaniel Lee is my Instagram. And it's been 2015, you said?
By the time we put this on YouTube, it'll be updated.
So for YouTube, disclaimer, I don't remember the exact budgets of these projects, but the rest of it's all accurate. So
awesome.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, if you have other questions, ask.